Sri J. Nikhil Chakravarti, Director Commissioner of Industries, Sri Rambabu Burgu, Mr. Animesh Rai, and my co-chair of ASSOCHAM, Dr. Augustine Azaria, and Mr. Macha Dinesh. Ladies and gentlemen, my media friends from the industry, a very good, warm welcome to you all and very good morning to you. I take the privilege to stand before you and before this Honorable Minister to address this and to start this particular seminar, the third edition of HR Summit. And as Dinesh was trying to tell, and after that state reorganization happened in IAP and Telangana, I got the opportunity to lead ASSOCHAM Telangana Development Council here in Hyderabad. So we have been representing both AP and Telangana. That was the time where the main action has started to say as far as Telangana is concerned. Coming back to today's topic of the seminar, Telangana stands, as we all know, at a defining inflection point in India's economic journey. Hyderabad has evolved far beyond being an IT destination. It is now a global capability center hub, a talent transformation engine, and a strategic node in international supply chain. As global chains realign and artificial intelligence reshapes production, services and governance, labor policy skilling ecosystem and industry partnerships must evolve in synchrony. The future of work is not a distant concept, it is already unfolding across our factories. GCCs, startups, and public institutions are coming up in India, into Hyderabad as one of the best service hubs in India. The pull to building India's most future-ready labor and skills ecosystem. India in a de-globalization world, the labor policy mandates as the following of Telangana's policy especially prioritize predictable and stable regulatory system, transparent technology-driven compliances, time-bound approvals, industry-aligned skilling pipelines, labor welfare aligned with productivity. So these are the factors which driving Telangana in the forefront of the manufacturing service industry. Finally, workforce mobility frameworks must anticipate cross-border capability demands. HR leadership must collaborate closely with government to create structured redeployment models for sector undergoing technological disruptions. ASSOCHAM remains committed to facilitating constructive dialogue between industry and government to ensure reform with responsibility. I would like to touch upon the unlocking talent in the era of AI. AI will not merely automate a task, it will redefine, it's already started, matter of fact, it will redefine roles, skills, hierarchies, and organizational design. The strategic imperatives which through AI would be shift from qualification-based hiring to skills-first ecosystems, embedded human plus AI collaboration into curricula, institutionalized structured reskilling commitments, develop ethical workforce transition frameworks. Here I would like to just share an experience like when Telangana government started in the present government also, government is very keen in having a collaborative efforts with the industry and the academia. So Telangana Government Council of Higher Education, in the past, we have made sure that all our industries, both IT and especially from matter of fact, the infrastructure industry where I belong to, we have been collaborating with the academia. Like we've been bringing on board, allowing students to come and do the internships, have a live experience with us, and giving them the live projects, training them at all levels. It's not only about the students, but also the training the trainers. Even the staff is to get trained masters, and we adopted some new technologies like steel structures. So the more and more development happening in infrastructure, we thought it should be shared with the manpower as well, because it's in the expanding field of infrastructure or technology, End of the day, it is human talent what we need, trained human.
Remarks from the Minister Garu. So I request my team to please get the white paper. So thank you for the inaugural of the Telangana Workforce Blueprint White Paper through ASSOCHAM, sir. So now I honorably request Minister sir to please deliver his address. Thank you.
Good morning to all, distinguished guests on the dais and participants for this ASSOCHAM HR Summit. As soon as I got this invite from ASSOCHAM, I said yes. I was earlier associated with the industry, so it's a good idea to go attend and meet some of our old colleagues. And incidentally, when I was in the industry, I was president of the CII combined Andhra Pradesh state. So during my tenure as CII president, I did a lot of work for the industry in those days. So I thought this is a very good idea to again reconnect with the industry. So I'm here, and I'm very happy that this summit which is there, HR summit, very relevant to today's times. Just now, labor codes which are just been passed by the parliament, they need to be implemented in all the industries. And personally, I felt when the bill was good bill, because it takes care of the labor, it also throws some responsibility on the industry, and it will also ensure that one interesting aspect, actually, if you see for the last 30-40 years, just now Mr. Ramesh was recollecting, my father happened to be the labor minister in Andhra Pradesh in 1980s, and then he was again a labor minister in the center. So we are, and now you are the labor minister here in Telangana. So a little bit of recollection way back in 1980s, there were a lot of HR issues, lot of IR issues, mainly because of those days minimum wages were not being paid, a number of working hours were not properly regulated. But if you see today, industry has become very responsible. We hardly hear any cases of IR issues and all. So this transformation which is taking place, it is also taking place in the industry. In industry earlier, in our company, we had an attrition rate of only 3 to 4%. But now we see the attrition rates going up, mainly because there is a lot of generational change. Employees want quick change of jobs every 3 years. They want a salary hike every 3 years. They feel once I move out of my current job, I get a 20% jump. Then again, after again 3 years, they want again another job. So this is a challenge for the HR department. HR department has to ensure that the employees are happy, they are working, the continuity is there, consistency is there. So the current challenges which the HR is facing is really a big challenge. So I'm sure this summit will deliberate what new ideas need to come, because ultimately the job of the HR is to ensure that the company is on sound lines, because once the employees are happy, definitely productivity levels will be high. And I have seen with my past experience, employees are the brand ambassadors of that company. So only when they are happy, they keep speaking about the good of the company, and they definitely create a good image for the company. So HR needs to devise new methodologies of how to retain people, how to come up with getting better productivity from our employees, and see that, because I have seen most of the companies also, there will be small groups being formed here, there, and we definitely create a little bit of problems for the management. So HR role becoming so vital in the functioning of the industry. So I would suggest that more, because when I started my industry, HR was not such a big department, or the management was giving a lot of importance to that department. Now with the IT and the new fields becoming more popular, definitely HR department has become very crucial. So there is need for all managements to recognize the need of how HR department can play a crucial role in the functioning of the company. So having said that about HR, I just want to say a few things about our state government's endeavor to see that in the future years, how skill development can play a vital role in the growth of this state. So we are establishing about 120 advanced technology centers. They are unlike the earlier ITIs, where they were mostly confined to mechanical and electrical ITIs. But now with these advanced technology centers, which is being set up in collaboration with the Tatas. Actually, really, we have to appreciate Tatas. They are coming forward with an investment of more than 4,000 crores under CSR for these centers. So it's become a big challenge for the government also, because setting up these advanced technology centers in the rural areas, we need to know what kind of good courses are required and how we can train people, and then all of you can have an opportunity to recruit good people. So I will request all of you in this session, if you can also come up with something where we can introduce in our ATCs courses which will benefit in future for the industry, so that HR can also get good skilled manpower in their industries. So we are in the process, we are setting up these centers, and in a year and a half time all these centers will be operational. So before that, I would love all of you to come forward and tell us what kind of good courses need to be introduced in our advanced technology centers. Actually, because of our past connections with the CII, I had a meeting with the presidents, ex-presidents of CII, to see what the industry needs are, to see what we can try to do from the government side. So we are working out, because in the recent summit which took place recently, where a lot of investments are proposed to come to Telangana, I have told our department to keep in touch with the industry requirements, so that we align with the industry. We see that proper manforce is available in Telangana when so many investments are coming. So I wish you all the very best for this summit. And we have with us Mr. Ramesh. He has a lot of administrative experience in the government, so, and in HR, because handling government employees is a very difficult task, and I'm sure this session will be a good interactive session, because Mr. Nikhil is also there from the Department of Industries. So I'm sure this summit will throw up new ideas on how best HR practices can work in our industries, and also help the government in developing skilled manforce in the coming days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, for your visionary address and your unwavering commitment to strengthening the labor reforms and workforce ecosystem. So we wanted to just give a token of memento from the ASSOCHAM, sir. May I kindly request Srikanth, sir, to please hand over the memento to Minister, sir. Sir, grateful for your time, sir. Thanks for coming, sir. Please. I kindly request Mr. Anish Rai to please give the theme address, please.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Distinguished dignitaries, I think Honorable Minister just left, respective leaders from the government, industry and academia, and my colleagues from ASSOCHAM, a very good morning. Mr. Srikanth just said this is the third edition of ASSOCHAM Southern Region HR Summit. The first one was in Bangalore. The second one was in Chennai, and now we are here in Hyderabad. And discussion just seems to get more interesting with each edition. So today the theme is reimagining workplaces, navigating the future of work. And when you say reimagine, it can be anything, isn't it? Right? But I'm sure that there is enough data, there is enough information that would help us imagine what needs to be reimagined. And maybe in next few minutes, I would try aligning everybody's thought on how this reimagination should align. It also reminds me of a saying that the future does not necessarily happen to us. It is shaped by choices we make today. And today is the day we are here, all of us, to discuss this. There are some interesting things happening. Work is changing faster than institutions are adapting. Skills are evolving faster than the curriculum. Technology is moving faster than the policy frameworks. And therefore, the future of work is not a distant debate. It is a present design challenge. And HR is in the front line of this design challenge. HR today is not merely managing people. They are rewriting jobs, they are reinventing career paths, and they are driving capabilities. Just to bring the entire discussion into perspective, there are three decisive shifts that we see, or I would rather say I see. The first shift is from jobs to skills. The job is no longer the unit of value, skills are. India's demographic dividend becomes powerful only when it becomes skill-driven. This demands a skill-first architecture, whether it's hiring, whether it's academia, whether it's skilling ecosystems, or whether it is public policy. We need to have a skill-first architecture, and I think there is a lot of conversation about how India can be the manpower supplier to the world, the skill capital to the world, and this can only happen if we make this first decisive shift. The second shift is from process to intelligent platforms. We have been very adaptable, we have been service-oriented, but have we created intelligent platforms is something that we all need to look at. Workplaces are not necessarily defined by buildings alone. They are defined by intelligent systems, and AI will replace humans faster than we think. And organizations that redesign work intelligently will have an edge over their people, process, and will be able to drive performance. And none of this will be possible without intelligent platforms. 3 years ago, when generative AI was still emerging, and most of us were debating the risk, CHRMP, the organization which is part of Ripples, became the first HR body in the world to launch a generative AI in HR certification. In just 3 years, we have enabled thousands of HR leaders to stay relevant in a rapidly shifting landscape. Today, we see countless use cases which have been successfully implemented, projects which are driving efficiency, improving decision quality, and giving HR departments a real strategic edge. Also, if you look at the speed or the velocity with the changes happening, it's really fast. I mean, if you really connect that to a similar shift we had seen in 90s when computers became very, very real, the change was still slow because it took computers came in, and then laptops came in, and then touchscreen came in, and then internets came in, and then Ubers and Olas came in, and it was a 20-year shift. But this time, the shift is much, much faster and much, much quicker. And institutions cannot truly rely on intuition. What we also did at Ripples is that we developed something called AI Readiness Index for academia and industry. And we are rolling it out in collaboration with Government of Karnataka. We would love to do that with Government of Telangana as well. Primarily what this framework would do is that it would allow institutions to objectively assess where they stand, identify capability gaps, and make evidence-based decision on where the government money or the investments or the talent energy or the strategic focus should be directed. Because future cannot be managed by instinct, it has to be engineered through insight. And now the last shift, the third shift, is from employment to employability. Earlier, stability meant lifetime employment, and that is what we were focused on. Today, stability means lifetime employability. Organizations can no longer promise job security, but what they can enable is job preparedness. Continuous upskilling, mid-career reinvention, age-inclusive and sustainability-aligned workforce strategies. The true competitive advantages of the coming decade will be in talent agility, And we, as HR professionals, will be responsible to drive this. So our job would shift from being administrative to something very, very strategic. And that is why here we are today in this summit to discuss and deliberate upon. Look at the line of speakers, look at the topics, India's rise to global leadership and talent transitions, the India advantage in GCC ecosystems, human AI collaboration with skill-first model, age-inclusive workforce, and not to miss the very important bit of 4 labor codes. These are not isolated HR discussions, they are structural pillars of India's growth story. So let us move by responding to disruption by designing resilience, because the future of work will not just happen to us, it will be shaped by choices that we make here today as well. And where India will start in 2047 would defined by what we as government, as industry, as academia, and most importantly as individuals do today. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Anmishji, for your powerful articulations and updating on the program today. May I request Dr. Augustus to please have his special address.
Thank you very much, Dinesh. Good morning, and I'm truly delighted to be here before you. Quick introduction about me and my company. My day job is with Kyndryl, and I also serve as the ASSOCHAM South Chair for HR. And what does Kyndryl do? We power progress of businesses. We drive the IT infrastructure, modernize the IT infrastructure, and also enable organizations to transition into the AI era. So now that that commercial is out of the way, let me also welcome our dignitaries on stage, before which this program couldn't have happened without Dinesh Macha. I don't want to wait till the vote of thanks, but upfront I want to tell people out here that you and Vishwa spend a lot of time and great levels of energy to make this happen. And with that, Animesh Rai, my co-chair, thank you so much for the wonderful effort that you have put in here. Sirs, this couldn't have been possible without a core team of HR people, largely from Bangalore, and some of them are here acknowledging Chetan and Nav Kishule, both entrepreneurs, and also those who are not here, Sangamitra, Dr. Bindu. And these group of people are into IT, startups, and also entrepreneurship, and also one of them is a retired army officer. So it's also battlefield to the boardroom, and all this content comes to you from these people who have spent their time. Now, the dignitaries on stage, I was truly impressed to read about Mr. Srikant Badiga, past president and past chair of ASSOCHAM, AP and Telangana State Development Council, Mr. Nikhil J. Chakravarti, IAAS, Deputy Director, Commissionerate of Industries, Dr. N. Ramesh Kumar, IAS, Director General, Administrative Staff College of India, Hyderabad, and Mr. Ram Babu Burugu, Co-Chair, ASSOCHAM, Telangana State. And of course, thanks for the wonderful message that the Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Minister Sri Gadam Vivek Venkat Swamy had just delivered a few minutes ago. And I want to make this very short, as there are a few more speakers after me, and not to bore you early in the morning. So I want to talk to those who are in the room, the government, the academia, and the industry. Okay? And I don't need to emphasize more that we are at a time of super impactful shifts. We are at a time of seismic changes. And the geopolitical challenges that we are having today is redefining the business day after day, not forgetting the technology disruptions that are happening today. All right? Not just at workplaces, but I think the stock markets are also bleeding over the last 2 days. And for good or for bad, I think it's all for good, for the good of humanity, for the good of our business. And but I am reminded of Sundar Pichai's statement last week in Delhi. And he said, every time he comes to India, he's impressed by the pace of change. And I could acknowledge that every state of this country, every single place I go to, there is tremendous change. Whether it's a college, university, or the government, or public policy pundits, or the startup ecosystem, I think the change is phenomenal. And what drives this change? What drives this change is why we have this program called Navigating the Future of Work. Work has changed, like the minister said. It has transitioned a lot. And how are we going to cope and equip ourselves for the future? Those are some of the takeaways that you're going to get later in the day. And when we talk about pace of change, it's not just public policy that defines the pace of change. It is people. And it's people like us who are at the core of every business. And I say this, people are such an important asset that various companies, if you read their annual reports, they will say people are our most valuable asset. And do you know where I see it? I would see it on page 42. If people are our most valuable asset, it should be on your cover page. It should be your banner headline. And that is my ask to the corporates out here, to recognize people and to put them at the core of your business, because when you do that, your business runs on autopilot. You empower them, you energize them, and then you give them the right skills, and business happens. And I'm a witness to it, having done that in the past. And like I said, pace of change is an era we are living in, and every era leaves its footprint, whether it was the industrial era, the Renaissance, or so on and so forth. And our era is going to leave a footprint. And I think we are all party to that great footprint that we are going to be leaving. And when I say footprint, this is about progressing people. People will progress once they have skills, and those skills have got to be relevant. And today, if you're reading about job losses and redundancies at work, that's a natural corollary of what? Innovation. As you innovate, you leave behind certain things that are outdated. And therefore, innovation drives the change. And for us to harness this change, we need people who are continuously skilled. So skilling is extremely important in this world that we are living in. Whether you want to make people AI ready, or whether you want to make them, skilled into teaching or into various other aspects. Another point that comes to my mind this morning is my message to the government, academia, and industry. Let's take academia first. I think academia is doing a great job by having so many graduates coming into our work stream. I don't need to emphasize that all of those graduates are not employable. They all need to go through a finishing school for them to be industry ready. And for them to be industry ready, we need industry to participate more effectively with academia. Not just a guest lecture that you're going to give, but sit down and bring that industry syllabus and make sure that industry people come and deliver the talk and teaching at colleges. Similarly, take faculty from colleges, embed them in the industry so that they are able to understand what the industry is. And that costs money. And who is going to pay this money? And that is why we have the government. And my urgent request to the government is to invest in these kind of initiatives, skills. And once all these three great players come together, magic will happen. And last but not least is how we transform lives in our country. And I'm going to leave you with a story. And this was a campus hiring event very recently in one of the backward districts in our country. And one lady didn't sit for the placement because her wedding was already planned and her father asked her to withdraw from the placement. And she was a very smart young lady. And one of the officers there in that institution asked me, can I speak to her father? I said, yes, I think you should. So he goes, speaks to the father, who is a self-made man. He's a carpenter in that village, and his daughter is such a bright person. And he tells him, sir, please give me one chance to get your daughter to sit for the interview, okay? And then you take a decision on the marriage. Just give your permission. So she sits through the interview. She clears it with passing colors. And she walks away with an offer of about 18 lakhs per annum, one of the highest. This is a true story. Now what happened? She comes from this backward village. She goes back to her village. She shares her success. Apart from sharing her success, she's one of those women in that village who had to go in the cover of darkness at night for nature's call and to relieve herself, because there was no sanitation or a bathroom in their home. She went and built a bathroom first with the money that she earned. And then she ensured that her entire village got those toilets. What happened here? Transformation. Entire village ecosystem transformed. Why? Because of education. Why? Because of skills. Why? Because of the opportunity. So each one of us here are great players who have facilitated these types of transformations. And one story like that is not enough to advance this country to a developed nation. We need more such stories. And we are going to be the creator of those stories. So my dear friends, I leave you with the thought to transform lives as you drive your business, and always do it with a purpose. And your purpose could be people, your purpose could be profit, your purpose could be social upliftment and social empowerment. Make sure that your purpose is undergirded by your business strategy. With that, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Augustus. My next speaker needs little introduction. He is the senior civil servant and a thought leader in the governance and administration. We honorably request Dr. Ramesh Kumar sir to please have his presentation and also his lecture, please. Thank you. Please add the presentation.
Yeah. Good morning. I'm very happy to be with you. My canvas is rather limited. I would speak about how the changes are impinging the HR, all of you, in your jobs, as career planners, as thought leaders in your own organizations. How do we create value among these uncertainties? I have a different take on, especially on AI. I come to that. But first, let us go to the first slide. This is the world we are living in. This is called the VUCA world. We have already come to terms with it. There are a lot of things which had affected the landscape of the businesses, of the services, service deliveries, including COVID. It has completely changed the definition of what a workplace is and what is a contribution of employees. The managing change in the context of VUCA, managing for the HR especially, it is a challenge. Why? There are two elephants in this room. We know about the contours of one of the elephants. It is called cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is going to impinge all the organizations in a very big way, in a very real way. And you have to be prepared for it. With the digital expansion in India that has taken place, we are one of the digital footprints are ubiquitous. it also has created a problem. We have created great payment gateways. We have created the ease of doing business with these digital transactions. But it has also bottled a genie out of this. That is cybercrime. In the context of the KYC norms, which have never been robust, we have bank accounts and we have the cell phones, which are unverifiable with regard to the ownership. This will continue to impact your databases. Breaches of the security, the database integrity of the companies, your intellectual property rights, and your personal privacy, your personal finances. We have to deal with cybersecurity. The HRs has to realize one of the paramount features of the organizations now is to create firewalls and to learn about the parameters of cybersecurity to protect your organization and also yourself. This is absolutely essential and non-negotiable. That is a real threat and it is not going to go away. We have to stay with this. And you're going to have very sophisticated hackers who will prey upon the companies, their IPRs, taking them to ransom, all kinds of malawares, and all these phenomena are going to come increasingly. That is going to be the feature we had to live with and we had to be prepared. We have reasonable preparation once you know how do we create personal firewalls and also personal hygiene in dealing with our phones, in our computers, in our data at a personal level. Otherwise, the business leaders will be much more vulnerable and much more compromised. Today, there is a new category of consultants who advise the business leaders about the cybersecurity and the kind of threats and the kind of precautions that they should have. But those protocols should travel down the line. Now, the second elephant in this room is something called the AI. Everyone talks about it. We are more scared than this. Quite right. The speakers earlier have said that the cycle time is going to be much shorter this time in terms of migration to this new platform. Granted, I agree. But there are limits to AI. AI can do a lot of routine kind of work, but the core of the business, that is the research, innovation, taking risks and placing bets, this AI will never be able to do. So we have to come back to the 2080 principle. The 80% of the routine works of a business, this AI can completely transform. It can make a lot of jobs, a lot of occupations redundant. We are seeing today, for instance, you could compose a letter. Most people do. A very, very unsophisticated letter. There is no personal touch in them. Anybody who receives that letter, they would know it is AI generated. There is no personal touch. You can just see through. A lot of communications, AI can do that. And AI can create presentations like this. All this it can do, but it can't create business innovation. It can't create real knowledge. It operates in a different world of this, the 2080 world. It will affect that 80% of that non-core activity, which still is very important. We have to live with AI, to use it as a facilitator and to deal with as a welcome or unwelcome guest as it happens to be. In this context, we have to revisit for institutional stability and for the stability of the organizations. How do we create lasting, impactful, stable organizations and platforms? That is the job of the HR. So in a time of, at a time of crisis, what we have learned is you have to revisit the basics, the very fundamentals of what is motivation, what is organizational challenge, what drives people in the HR area. So The original theory of motivation was the Maslow's hierarchy. People gravitate from security needs, from social recognition needs. Ultimately, this journey of self-discovery, it goes to a process of self-actualization where you achieve your potential and where it stops. But Maslow himself had revisited this. He added 3 more tiers to this. Some of you are familiar with that, but it requires some explanation. The cognitive needs is everyone is curious. Everyone wants to explore, not to be satisfied. What next? What is beyond? This is a drive which takes individual organizations forward. This is what Maslow has said in the next level of hierarchy. The other is aesthetics, business aesthetics, which nobody talked about. Aesthetics were limited to fashion, to clothes, to various other things, but no more. Aesthetics is built into the core of the business. Look at the iPhone. Before iPhones, there were also equally good phones. In fact, Microsoft came with a product which is as good as iPhone, but it did not click because it missed out on aesthetics and created an intersection between technology and aesthetics, and he created a product. That is what is going to be the future. Aesthetics, business aesthetics are going to be a big drivers. This is what Maslow has said. And finally, transcendence. Transcendence really is about legacy. After you achieve everything, what do you want? Immortality. Organizations want immortality. People want immortality. So this drive will also propel a lot of change, dynamism, individual excellence, organizational excellence. However, there has been a limitation. These models are primarily based on the Western models. I would like to argue with you, every template of management tools and also management culture are a product of a culture and civilization. What is good in US doesn't hold good in the Europe anymore. It's a different world, different context, for that in China, for that matter. So, in our case also in India, there is a very unique model of a servant leadership. A servant leader is one who thinks beyond himself and works for the fulfillment of the members of the organization. The servant leadership which West has never practiced. I would like to recall 2 of the greatest leadership examples in India. Dr. Satish Dhawan, whenever a launch was failure, he took responsibility. He went to the media and said, "It is my fault, we have failed, but next time we will do better." But when a launch was successful, he always would say, "I would give credit to the team." That is what servant leadership is at work, which has really transformed a PSU like ISRO into a world-class organization where they are able to put satellites into an orbit at a fraction of a cost of what the other competitors are doing. That's why people do come. Of course, we have failures. There is a failure committee which is reviewing it was announced this. But they are going to learn. It's a learning organization. They learn from failures. A good organization need not have success run, because a failure is the next thing which is going to trip you and bring you down. Be prepared for the failures. That's what ISRO is. And Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam had carried this in DRDO. That is why today we have a robust missile architecture. The Operation Sindoor is because of the DRDO, because of Kalam, because of the sound principles which he had grounded into these organizations, which make the organizations robust. So we had to discover what are those principles which have worked in the Indian context. I would call them the 4-quadrant approach. We should not be satisfied with what the mind produces. There is your emotions, the heart, our bodies, and ultimately our being. So the 4-quadrant approach is what India has always believed in. This is called Manasa, Vacha, and actually Karma. It is Karmana. This is a spelling mistake. So, you ideate, you talk, and then you practice. This is the core principles which foundational values of our own culture and civilizations, and we should go back to these core principles to learn a little more about them. When we come to the mind, one of the great features of the mind is the plasticity. Today there has been a lot of speculative research that new neurons which are created in the hippocampus region, they might migrate to the other regions. It is very speculative, but in some laboratory studies they see that kind of migration. That means individuals can add new capabilities, and organizations also can, because ultimately organizations are the sum total of the individuals and more. So organizations and individuals have a lot of capacity, a lot of latent capacity in them to rewire, to acquire new skills talked about by you, sir. I completely agree with you. These are learnable and doable provided you have a learning environment. That is what organizations have to create in self-interest. And the purposive organizations have these kind of principles. You all know about it. But we have to pay attention to this. Organizations have to be purposive, focused. We have to be innovation enough, like we have to deal with failure, like the DRDO has dealt with failures, like the ISRO has dealt with failures. But the failures have made them robust through a process of learning. You should have the capacity to learn from failure, to apply and to improve. And finally, the organizations have to be agile. In the private enterprise, the agility is not an issue, but we deal with public organizations. And we have been asking organizations to be non-hierarchical to the extent possible. In the business world also, there are organizations which have failed, and one of the best case studies is the General Motors, which had innumerable number of committees and vice presidents, and they never took decisions, and they had the committees, and it ultimately General Motors, they tripped down only because of their lack of agility, either for public organizations or private organizations. That will be an issue. But there are mechanisms, there are toolkits. In the case of the HR, this is known as competency mapping. In competency mapping, the issues that emerge are privacy concerns primarily. You can successfully do competency mapping for all your employees, but we have to develop a culture where the employees should be open for the competency mapping and to come out into the public space and say, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, I would like to learn more. We have to develop this culture in the organization to develop competency mapping and to use the competency mapping for the organizational good and growth. It's not going to be an easy challenge. It's a very difficult challenge because people do not want to reveal who they are easily unless you create a sense of trust and belonging in the organization. Now, we also talked about the toxic work culture which creates attrition rates. This is one of the core areas of the HR. Why the attrition rates happen? The attrition rates happen for varieties of reasons, but the reason which we are focusing about is the toxic workplace. There are many successful companies which give good results on a quarter-on basis, but the people are so vexed they would like to leave these organizations. Why they wouldn't like to stay? The IT and ITES sector had reached an attrition rate of almost 25%. The IT majors had got together and had a non-compete agreement, at least in the case of the top management, that we should not poach on each other's talent. Most of the industries have to develop this kind of a dialogue where you have to deal with your peers and say, look, let us not do this anymore. Let us not poach on your resources, which you have nurtured, developed over a period of time. I would not do that. That kind of confidence, that kind of a culture, that kind of a practice, unless it comes, these attrition rates will continue to be there and continue to play. We develop resources, we painstakingly over a period of time, they grow in the organizations, and at the first earliest opportunity of career advancement, they would like to lead it. Here, organizations like CII, ASSOCHAM can promote this kind of a dialogue among the senior management and leadership and bring about some kind of healthy governance in place. So the way forward to make an organization a happy, a productive organization is team building. For team building, we at ASCII, we have developed a lot of toolkits. We do programs, we do exercises, we do therapies, and we create teams out of people. The people are not an island into themselves. You have to break this silo-based functioning, and you have to create from silos. The transition has to be teams tomorrow. We have emphasized about work from home too long. This, the coziness and comfortness of working on your own, but it won't work. The West also has come away. The Apple had given the guidance. Google had given the guidance. If you want to stay at home permanently. Please come to offices, because it is necessary to create teams, collaboration and innovation through workplace collaboration, teams and working. But the organizations have to structurally look at empathy building. The empathy building, a sharing, a caring, there is a kind of a concern which organizations have to create. When there is a crisis, the leadership has to respond to the crisis of a member of the team. It is his crisis is your crisis. If you are able to create that kind of an outlook, that kind of an empathy, your organization will stay robust, resilient. Now, I would not like to discuss more about the body. Bodies are very important. The body is a vehicle through which the deliveries take place. Now, if you look at the high performance individuals, the prime ministers, the ministers, the CEOs, and the COOs are very large organizations. One thing they don't have is a luxury of a sleep. They don't sleep more than 4 hours. It's an educated guess. Is there any prime minister who could, with this kind of global challenges and crises, who would speak for more than 4 hours? And our employee would say, oh, I did not sleep well today, I did not rest well. This is another glass ceiling which has to be broken. Your body is much more capable, provided your body realizes your importance, your own significance. This, I talk about the very happy chemicals. We are really powered by these very happy chemicals. These are our dopamines, the oxytocins, the serotonins and endorphins. The dopamines kick in because of the purpose. The oxytocin comes because of the camaraderie, friendship, meeting like this today. All of you, interacting with each other, shaking hands, knowing each other, making connections, real connections. This is what oxytocins are at work. The serotonin is when you do a good job, like Dinesh has done a good job. He has done a wonderful HR summit. His serotonin right now is at the highest level among this particular group. Give a big hand to him. And endorphins are what gives us the capacity to overcome the threshold of pain, fatigue. So that these have to be nurtured. You are your chemicals, and your organization has to realize that there is a balance between work and life. If it happens, there are good chemicals at work, otherwise there are bad chemicals at work. We have created, using these principles, we have created some learning platforms. We call this the Atmanirbharta program, where we brought together all the players in the defense ecosystem. We have brought together the DRDO, we brought together the PSUs, majors, we brought together tri-services, we brought together private enterprise, and we brought together organizations like ISRO, who are all silo-based thinking into a common kind of a platform, because that is an ecosystem which is, there is a lot of give and take, there is a lot of exchange, there is a lot of potential. We created this common kind of a platform. And recently what we have created is a new training model, what is known as how do you prepare for the future in a VUCA environment. So this is another learning platform which we have created, embedding the 4-quadrant principle: the mind, the heart, the body, and ultimately we come to the being. The being is one of the most important things. The being is one which tells you your story to you. It is the one who tells you who you are. It tells you what you should be. You should listen to that little voice. That is important. If you don't listen to that, there will be only angst, there will only be dissatisfaction. Ultimately, you'll have to go to Sadhguru and then prostrate at their feet, and they will take advantage of you. They'll rip you off. There are a lot of these charlatans which have come who are capitalizing on these kind of deficiencies of management of self. Nobody should fall prey to that. It is pathetic if you have to go to somebody else to tell you who you are. You know who you are, provided you are prepared to listen to yourself. Be mindful. Listen to that inner voice. Know you, who you are. That inner voice is what ancient Indian wisdom has said about dharma. What is dharma? People would say, this is the greatest challenge for me in this audience, of this very evolved audience. We are all Western educated. What is dharma? Dharma is not merely doing right things, but doing things right. If you do that, you know that. If you know that, you are on track. And your organization is on track. So, my friends, I have come to the last slide. That is thank you. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share some of my thoughts, which we have been putting into practice. We are practitioners. We are practitioners for public good, for capacity building of governments, central, state, the PSUs, and the banks. These are our clientele. Private sector is not yet a big part of our platform. But we could work together. We could collaborate. We had to create a new kind of a lasting template in the context of the VUCA that is impacting the humans at a personal level, the societies. But coping up with this change is possible if you stay grounded. That is what the message is all about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your truly inspiring message and the presentation, sir. It was the importance of the institutional leadership in shaping the future-ready talent, sir. At ASSOCHAM, we would be proud to work with ASCII, sir, and we always look forward for your guidance and support for all our initiatives, sir. Thank you. Floor pot. Due to some other meetings, Ramesh sir would be leaving now, so we would wanted to just thank him with a small presentation. I kindly request Srikanth sir to please present a sapling to Ramesh sir. Thank you, sir. Now I kindly request Mr. Nikhil Chakravarti, an industry-friendly director from the Industries Department, to please give a special address. Thank you.
inspiring talk. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, dignitaries on the stage, Ramesh sir and Honorable Minister, and dignitaries of the stage and all the various leaders from various HR leaders from various companies. Very good morning, everyone. I think this would be my first HR event in last 1.5 years in my industries department. Kudos to ASSOCHAM for doing such a wonderful event on HR, because they were quite helpful to us in organizing our global summit as well. As you all know, in December we had a big global summit, and ASSOCHAM was a big partner in that event for our industries department. Of course, after that presentation, I don't know what much I could add to this gathering, but I'll try my best. As you all know, industries department has been having their interventions across the 4 factors of production, and whether it is land, labor, capital, or entrepreneurship development and all. And of course, apart from that, we do other interventions in terms of overall infrastructure, logistics infrastructure, ease of doing business practices, for enhancing the entire business atmosphere and ease of doing the business. Of course, you must be aware Telangana is in one of the 4 most highest ranked states with respect to ease of doing business in the country. So as part of that, there were many interventions with respect to labor as well, and the so-called HR in the private world, we do seek huge importance to our labor reforms, labor deregulation, decriminalization reforms as well. Just for my audience, for a brief information on what we do with respect to certain labor reforms, how government thinks about certain labor and enhancing the skills and all. As you all know, there's the highest level in the bureaucracy is the cabinet secretariat, that it is in the PMO. In fact, the cabinet secretary is monitoring this deregulation and decriminalization reforms, and one of the key deregulation reforms are on the labor side of it, whether various compliances that the business has to comply to for various labor related issues, and also for the exit of the company as well, where there are many other forms that needs to be filled. When we met across various countries, leaders across the countries, many leaders, diplomats across the world, they were saying that these labor reforms are one of the major reforms that you need to do for attracting the foreign capital and also improve the ease of doing business. So the exercise started in that way. So as part of the deregulation, decriminalization reforms. So in deregulation, we have removed so many maximum number of hours that an employee can work from 144. In fact, Telangana has been forefront. Before India came to this, we have already reformed our labor laws. We have already given the maximum per week labor hours to 154. India's labor reforms is only 144. So we are already ahead of that. And apart from that, there are many other exit laws, like if a company has more than 100 employees, if you want to close the company, you need to have various permissions you need to take various permissions from the labor department and all. This threshold has been improved to 300. So these were all reforms that are coordinated by my department, and we ensure that is implemented by the different departments as well. Apart from the labor, we do have various other deregulation reforms like flexible zonings, if it is a white industry, it is only based on self-certification, there is no PCB requirement. So and even third-party inspection for fire audits, everything will be self-certification based and third-party based, and the renewals will also be for longer duration. So there are many such reforms that we are taking up. And the new labor codes, which was launched in November 25, was one of the last culmination to such various activities that we were doing. So as you all know, I don't want to talk on that on labor reforms, where we have broadened the social security cover. There is major safety reforms, and also women in workforce, and many other minimum wage floors, of course, and worker safety and health. So it percolates across sectors, across industries. So apart from that, the new other reforms that we are going to do as part of our business reforms action plan is we already have a new digital employment exchange of Telangana, which is a matchmaking platform wherein the employers are being enrolled, and also all the job seekers rural across the length and breadth of Telangana are already enrolled. We are enrolling them into that platform, and I would encourage all the HR leaders to actively use that platform. Now it has gained good traction into this now. Almost 1 lakh plus job seekers are already on the platform. You can just enroll yourself and start your notifications. You can see your ideal job described profiles already. We are deploying few AI models as well, thanks to some of our vendors who are able to do that. So in fact, we are changing the entire module again, with new UI and UX and further additions also. So I would request every one of you to use that platform. It's called DEET. There is an application also. It's a Digital Employment Exchange of Telangana. This would really help the rural youth and youth of Telangana in securing the jobs that they deserve. And there is a small check from our side as well, based on the recommendations from some of you. We are doing a small pre-check using our own AI software and all, and our own department districts heads, where they'll initially scrutinize their applications as well to see the veracity of these applications. And so these are some of the reforms that we are doing, and I know it is with the advent of AI, and I was reading the new report that Telangana blueprint that is prepared by CRMP and ASSOCHAM together. It's heartening to see there are certain vanishing roles across different sectors. I think apart from that, they can also add the roles that can also emerge, so that the new skill sets that can be also be improved upon. Apart from the DEET, apart from those deregulation reforms, you all are aware of Young India Skill University, which has been championed by this new government with much more vigor. And also, as Honorable Minister has told about the new ATCs, the Advanced Technology Centers. We have partnered with Tata. They have invested almost 2,000 crores in bringing new equipments into these ATCs, almost the 64 ATCs across different districts, where the labor has been trained with new advanced machines and advanced technologies, so that they are more job ready, and you can directly absorb without much of cost with respect to training and all from the company. So from the ATCs, from the digital employment tracking, from the skills, and also various reforms. So the reforms are quite across. I mean, we are doing whatever we can, and we are also engaging all the industry partners in shaping the curriculum in these Young India Skill Universities as well, in the ITIs, ATCs. So we would love to take the feedback from you as well, Department of Industries, and of course IT as well, to take enough feedback from you to improve such skills of the manpower here, and also do much more courses in partnership with the industry in ATCs, ITIs, and the skill universities as well. And with that, thanks for having me, ASSOCHAM, and thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insight and the continued support towards the industry and the workforce development in the state of Telangana. So I personally thank on behalf of ASSOCHAM also the most friendly and also reachable director for the Commission of Industries. Always a next step to the industry need. May I request Mr. Rambabu Garu, the co-chair for Telangana State Development Quality, to please deliver his vote of thanks. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Really delighted to see a lot of enthusiasm and also enthusiasts, academics, experts in the HR domain and also from industry. It's been a wonderful beginning of the great day to discuss and really do a brainstorming and also come up with some interesting insights on the HR relevance going forward. So this day we had Chief Guest Mr. Sri Gaddam Vivek Venkateswamy Garu, Honorable Minister for Labour, Employment, Training and Factories, Mines, Geology and Government of Telangana. He has set the context for the day, how the labour laws, how HR has a role to play in for running the state or industry or any organization. It's not just about technology, but it's also about the people who run the complete the system. So we need to really have a great importance and relevance, and also it needs to adapt as and when the technological changes happening and social changes are happening, that needs to adapt according to that. I believe Minister Sir has set the context with his experience and also had set the guidelines how they can collaborate with how maybe industry can collaborate with the government to suggest some kind of a policy making advisory. So also we had Mr. Dr. Ramesh Kumar Garu, Director General Administration of ASCI, Hyderabad, where he had really taken us to the basics of HR, the Maslow's theory, has how it's getting evolved even over a period of time, and how we need to adapt our HR practices, and how a human mind and how it needs to really play something like how it needs to handle the organizational situation as well. So I think that really thrown us something context what really HR can play a big role in the world of change. So we had Mr. Nikhil Chakravarti, IAS, Director Commissioner of Industry. Sir, thanks for that very brief and very insightful things what's happening in the industry, labor laws, and also congratulate sir for having successfully executed Telangana Rising Summit. It was a really, thanks for giving us an opportunity for ASSOCHAM for being part of it and organizing a couple of sessions where we had a role to play in. So I believe definitely would like to collaborate and also bridge the gap between industry and government, and also where we can play a role actually. Yeah. So, and also Mr. Animesh Rai, Co-Chair, ASSOCHAM, Karnataka State Development Council. So, also CEO for Ripples Learning. Thanks, sir, for your very insightful conversation on setting the context of the day. And also Mr. Agutesh Ajara. So, you had delivered very energetic speech and also really emphasized the relevance of HR. So, the ultimate last but not the least, of course, Mr. Dinesh has been putting a lot of efforts to make this event happen. And also definitely we are looking forward to have a very insightful conversation throughout the day where your HR, because this we have very interesting panel discussions, we can able to understand, because as we know, we keep talking about we are hearing day in and day out, AI, but it's not just about AI, but how we are putting our human intent into it actually. But how we can able to put humanization into artificial intelligence, because without human intent and empathy into AI, we cannot really leverage what it can give to any individuals or organizations or at scale to the country and nation and the global actually. So I believe there is a great relevance having even HR departments and also HR heads and also HR industry needs to understand this phenomenal paradigm shift. What is happening from this change is not something new. It's been there from very monotonous to automation and also industrialization, made industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. It's keep happening actually. But I believe throughout this journey, HR has been playing a big role. So adapt according to the change what is happening based on the technological changes or the societal changes or economical changes. So these are all things keep happening. But in that, I think also as Sir said in the book, it needs to be people are the key, but they are mentioned at the end of the book. That should be, I believe, the organizations who are really giving high importance to their people and understanding their leveraging their capacities to full extent of their potential. So they are definitely winning. The organizations who are really winning and the countries who are winning in their whatever the race they are participating in is the people who recognized their human capital. So human capital, if at all they recognize and really leverage the capacity of it, definitely we can able to grow and grow. And as Minister Sir said, the 2047, the raising target has been set like a $3 trillion. So if at all that needs to be achieved as a state or as an organization, people want to achieve, definitely we need to accept the importance of the HR, human resources, the human capital. So we need to understand the dynamics of it from core to really from top to bottom and give importance and take it forward. So I hope this today we will have some kind of interesting conversations around these particular aspects and we'll go away from this room for some experiences, learnings, and also we are from ASSOCHAM would like to really take it forward and organize more and more such events so that, our role is to really bring some kind of insightful, the relevant topics and organize, and not only that, we'll bring the white paper. And also I would like to congratulate CHRP. I have gone through that blueprint. It's very interesting. Please spend some time to go through that because that has very relevance of HR, how it is evolving. They have taken white papers on various sectors, what kind of, as already Nikhil garu cheppinattu, the roles in every organization. Let it be, it's not just about IT, but it's about every industry. There are roles going to vanish, unfortunately, but it is not that that's the end of the story. The new roles are, emerging roles are coming up. So I think we need to understand the dynamics of it actually. We need to skill, how we can reshape skilling, upskilling and cross-skilling, etc. various aspects, how we can do. Those are all things, I think, a very interesting white paper. Please take some time to go through that to get some kind of insights. And with that, I thank everyone again, once again, and also last but not least, the participants, everyone who is attending today. I really thank all of you for taking your valuable time on these weekdays and hope that you will take some learnings from this today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ram Garu. I request Dr. Augustus to please hand a sapling to Nikhil Garu. Thank you. A group photograph.
Sorry, sir, I missed in the hurry. Srikant Badige garu has given a wonderful welcome note on this today to set the context. Thank you, sir.
Good job.
I request Mr. Abhishek Kumar, the CEO of Ripple Learning and Research. Mr. Abhishek would be delivering the key address on the emerging trends on assessments and impact. So I warmly welcome Abhishek to please take over the session.
So I think we had a presentation.
Yeah, presentation.
All right. Dignitaries, HR leaders, delegates, friends from the media, panelists, thank you for having me here. My name is Abhishek Kumar. I'm the CEO of Ripple's Learning, and it's great to be amongst all of you. When Veronica from our team informed me that I have to speak about assessment trends, I did whatever anyone would do to prepare for such a speech. I went to Google and searched for assessment trends 2026. Then I had a moment of self-reflection. I realized this was not right. So I went and typed the same thing in ChatGPT, isn't it? And then I realized that if I can search for assessment trends in ChatGPT and Google, then anyone can search for assessment trends. So why should you listen to me? You should just search for that in Google. So I don't want to talk about assessment trends. Rather, I want to talk about actions that we have taken, bets that we have made, isn't it? And the bets that we have made have been not born merely of a Google or a ChatGPT response, but from our assessment of what the environment is, what the environment is going to be like, and what we as an organization, Ripple's Learning and Research, want to do in that environment. These bets we have not made merely with words, we have made with time, effort, money, investments over a long period of time where we have built solutions and products. I think that's a real indicator of what we think are the trends in assessments. We put money where our minds are, isn't it? So when we talk about the future of work, we are mostly talking about AI, we are talking about productivity, we talk about new models of employment, but underneath all of these, there is one practical question that HR carries for the business. How do we know someone is capable? How do we know someone is truly effective? How do we know a learning investment actually changed the behavior? These are not philosophical questions. These are decision questions, because decisions are made on the basis of these questions, as I'm sure all of us in HR already know. And the way these decisions live and die is on the basis of the quality of signals that you have, because there's a lot of noise around these things, a lot of noise around whether someone is capable, whether a leader is truly effective, and whether a program is effective or not. But can we focus on the signals? And that is something that we will like to do. Now, I want to share 3 trends reshaping assessments. And like I said, these are not just trends that, that we think might happen. These are trends where we have put our efforts and our money and our investment and our time and our energy and our emotions, and me and my team here and a lot many more people back home have built these things because we think these are the trends. So let's talk about what the trends are. Yes, I think maybe you can change. Can you go to the next slide? This seems to be not working. Yeah. You'll have to change it for me. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's working now. Okay, so let me talk about the 3 trends. At its core, Ripples is built on a simple but important idea. Capability should be defined clearly, it should be measured rigorously, and improved deliberately. In many systems, in education, corporate learning, even AI adoption, we rely on proxy and we prove the impact with velocity. There is a second conviction that we also have, probably even more important than the first. India must participate not only in the consumption of global knowledge frameworks, but in their creation. A country of India's scale cannot remain a talent exporter and just a witness to the game that is being played out. It must contribute architecture, standards, indices, measurement systems that are then referenced globally. You can see one part of that effort is creating the workforce blueprint for Karnataka and now Telangana, and then we are hoping to do it for other states, and we are also hoping to do it for the country. The broader ambition is intellectual, not merely commercial. It is to contribute to India's transition from a services-consuming economy to a knowledge-producing economy, where frameworks, assessment architectures, professional standards, and are exported, referenced, and respected globally. In that sense, these are not just products. They are infrastructure for capability, designed in India and built for the world. I also want to, I'll give you a quick example of this actually, because this is always plays in my mind and I often talk about it with my colleagues, so I should also talk about it here a little bit. So for example, when we talk about the generational frameworks, everyone is talking about millennials and Gen Z. These do not really reflect the experience of the Indian generations, isn't it? For example, when we talk about baby boomers, who are baby boomers? Baby boomers are people born, in the early part of the previous century. They went and fought in World War II, came back after America had won the war. And since everybody was exhausted from war, they came back and raised families, and there was a boom in the number of babies in America, right? So that's the reason it's called baby boomers. Why are we calling our people who were struggling for independence in 1930s and 40s baby boomers, right? That framework doesn't fit. So we need a way to think about our experiences, we need to have an architecture that describes and defines our experience as a society, right? And I think what we have done is try to take a small effort in that direction. So the first trend I want to talk about is skills first, isn't it? I think earlier speakers also spoke about it, so I'll keep it brief. The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report says that more companies use skill assessments, that is 47% companies use skill assessments compared to 45% which use degrees or proxies for skills, right? And there are only 5% companies which only use degrees and do not use skill assessments at all, isn't it? So what does that mean? That means that when it comes to measuring the capability of a candidate whom you are hiring, which is how the market speaks, the market is already saying that we want proof of capability and not proxies for capability, isn't it? What are proxies? Degrees, brand names, job titles have been proxies for capability. But in a high churn economy, shortcuts are expensive. Proof requires infrastructure. And we do not want to have skill first only as a slogan. So what do we need? We need a shared language of skills. So leadership, data literacy, AI literacy is not just a vague label, but a defined capability. Assessments that measure the capability, which are not just exams, but work samples, simulations, structured judgment, etc. And governance so that the measurement is fair, comprehensive, and defensible. So how have we done this? How have we put money where our mouth is? CHRMP, or Certified Human Resource Management Professional, a certification that was built in India. In 2009 we launched it, and today we have 20,000 proud CHRMP certified professionals in more than 80 countries all over the world, right? We have deliberately moved from certification as an exam pass towards certification as proof of competence. In programs like generative AI for HR or HR analytics programs, learners don't just answer questions. We also have a program for CHROs. They produce capstones, they produce artifacts, proof of work that can be reviewed and verified. The credential becomes a compact summary of demonstrated capability rather than a proxy badge that you have. So the first trend that I want to talk about is skills cannot be verified by proxy. They must be demonstrated through evidence. And I think that's the first thing I want to, the first trend that we as a company have bet on. Yeah, so that is CHRMP. I spoke about that. It's a proof of competence credentialing and not just an exam that you have to pass. Let's talk about the second trend, which is what we assess is expanding beyond knowledge, right? Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development conducts a PISA test. PISA is a performance of international students assessment. Every year they conduct this test which assesses students' capabilities. What do they assess? They assess social and emotional skills, emotional intelligence, collaboration, empathy, self-control, curiosity. Why are they assessing these skills? Isn't it? Because the labor market increasingly rewards capabilities that are hard to infer from a CV. We can't just look at a CV and infer somebody's ability to be collaborative and have agency. If we are measuring only what is the easiest, recall, compliance, and a set of tasks that they can do, we will systematically underinvest in what the economy and the world is actually asking for. In fact, there is a very important point I want to make here, and it's related to AI. I promise to keep my references to AI as minimal as possible. But if, let us say, the world that we are being promised by Elon Musk and Sam Altman does arrive, and intelligence is available on tap. Intelligence is essentially commoditized. You switch on a tap and you have intelligence. It's able to analyze, interpret, summarize, etc., etc. What will be in demand then? If intelligence is available on tap, if intelligence is commoditized, if specialization is commoditized, which is what makes us distinct right now, what would then be the differentiator? And I would argue that if intelligence is commoditized, what would be the differentiator would be things like agency, being able to be proactive, taking action, collaboration, isn't it? Being able to, these things essentially, right? Coaching, collaboration, learning agility, these things then become the differentiators, because intelligence is anyways available. Intelligence essentially becomes a tool, and the inner instinct and the ability we have, the capacity we have to demonstrate these capabilities, they become important, right? I want to talk about Discovery, a tool that we built, which focuses on 3 ideas: make behavior specific. We have more than 60 competency areas that we assess. Calibrate with multiple perspectives, so it's not just my opinion of my skills, it's an opinion of a crowd that I trust, could be my peers, could be my managers, could be my subordinates. It generates a 40+ page report, and it turns insight into development by identifying learning gaps. The aim is not another assessment. The aim is to create a shared behavioral language that supports coaching, development planning, etc. These are some screenshots from the report. So you have a self view of a particular skill, you have a peer view of a particular skill, you have an average view, and you have a spider map for all the competency indicators which make the behavior really, really specific. Now, this is also something that we have built over the last 7 years, and it's now, we are launching it. In fact, we are launching it this week and today in Hyderabad. Discovery focuses on 3 ideas which I spoke about. Let's quickly talk about the third thing. Third trend, which is, long ago when I was joined in my first job, as a L&D trainer, as a soft skills trainer, my manager told me that, nah, it's not possible to measure training impact, isn't it? Many years later, I had a boss who used to say, training is like prayer. You do it and you hope that it works, isn't it? In every job interview that I've ever given, where I was somewhere in the space of L&D, this would always be the gotcha question, isn't it? Because everybody knows that training departments can't answer this question. What is that question? The question is, how will you prove effectiveness, isn't it? How will you know that your training has made an impact? So over the last more than 25 years that I've been hearing this question, finally we decided to invest in building a solution to this. And while you might have heard of HR certifications and you might have heard of psychometric assessments like the one I shared earlier of reliable and valid assessments, but I think this is something, a truly unique product, right? The third shift is not just delivering training and measuring a Kirkpatrick level 1 feedback, but really ensuring that impact happens and we are able to measure that impact. Research on training transfers consistently points to the same reality. Transfer is strongly shaped by what happens after the program. Work environment support, reinforcement, opportunities to apply, and not just what happened in the training room. So the shift is from training to an event, not treating training like an event, but an ecosystem where training is probably the beginning or the middle part of the process, and then something happens after that to activate or enable that training in the workplace. This means, and that's why we have built Ripple's Velocity, which enables 3 things: learner ownership. People must show how they have applied learning in real work and share it on Ripple's Velocity. Peer continuity, the whole cohort that attended the training does not disappear after the program. It stays in Ripple's Velocity ecosystem, and they continue sharing how they have applied what they have learned. And the managers also have an access to this platform, so they are also assessed on how they have engaged and encouraged participants to apply what they have learned in the program. This is what Ripple's Velocity operationalizes. Velocity is built to capture credible post-program evidence, not just opinions. Learners share real application stories. The peer group remains active after the program is over. Managers and observers validate the responses of students. One detail matters for credibility and culture. Velocity doesn't only track learner participation, it also makes observer behavior visible, which is what did the manager do after the program? Did they encourage and engage with the participant, right? How managers interacted with the application of participants. So this is the third shift. L&D is moving away from delivery plus feedback forms to credible evidence of application and reinforcement, right? Just to quickly show you, this is an example of what the Velocity dashboard looks like. So you can see here, just one second. You can see, but I need space. So you have experience. So you can see that about 52% of participants applied learnings after a particular program, out of which I think 72% had a excellent experience and 28% had a average experience. Similarly, that's an example of how for that particular competency, so for each competency you're able to see what the impact has been and what the outcome is. So that's, and the top right dashboard shows these are the managers, how have they encouraged the participants after the training program was over. So essentially we have built something to open the black curtain of what happens to our participants once they leave the training room and walk into the big and bad world, and kind of show us a glimpse of what they did after the program is over. This is not a survey, this is a habit builder. It's not a survey that we run every 15 days. It's a platform they have constant access to share stories, read articles about what they did, how they're applying ideas. You can learn more by visiting our stop. So one line to remember: the future of assessment is not about collecting more HR data. It's about producing better signals, leaders trust, employees can act on, and organizations can defend. This is what we see as the three biggest trends. The goal ultimately is to reduce the noise and improve signals. Three signals. The first one, trust, proof and evidence, not proxies. The second, look at the capabilities which are beyond specialization, because the specialization anyways will be taken away by AI. Look at capabilities that matter, for which we have Ripple's Discovery. And finally, look at impact measurement after a training program, which is what Ripple's Velocity does. Now we also have a stall here. You can see Ripple's Learning and Research. And for every participating delegate, we are providing these free pilots. So please feel free to avail of them. If you want an individual self-assessment with Discovery, that is completely free. If you're an HR leader and you want it for your team, if you just ask the panel there to create an agency account for you, you will get about 50,000 credits, which is good enough for 10 people to take assessments on more than 30 different competency areas. Also, Ripple's Velocity, which I spoke about so passionately, because like I told you from the first day of my job, this has been something hanging over my head. So if you want to try Ripple's Velocity, again, get an account created for yourself. 5 events, 5 training programs are complimentary for you, for everybody who is attending this summit. So you can, for 5 training programs that you run next, you can also experiment with the platform and see how it works. These pilots are a gift from Ripples to all of you. Thank you so much for being so patient and listening to me. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek Kumar. Thanks. Now we'll start up with our session 1, the India Rise to Global Leadership. So the session is on the future-proofing talent, transitions and building the workforce resilience. The session will be moderated by Mr. Anvesh Rai, the co-chair of ASSOCHAM, Karnataka State Development Council, and also the Chief Operating Officer of Ripple Learning. Animesh is very much associated with ASSOCHAM Southern Region for the past decade. So he is a visionary leader with the skill development, human resources and people analytics, and worked close to 2 decades in the pioneer work in the integrating emerging technologies like generative AI and into organizational frameworks. Animesh has trained and mentored leaders from 23 of the Fortune 100 companies and offering tailored solutions with optimized performance and drive efficiency. Animesh holds leadership positions as a co-chair and also the national president of the Global Human Resource Management and Organization. So I warmly welcome Mr. Animesh. And the other key panelists, I would like to just Mr. Abhishek Ranjan, the Joint Secretary for the United Nations Global Impact. We welcome Abhishek Ranjan. And Ms. Prachita. Prachita is a Vice President, Human Resources Controllers Data Center. We welcome Prachita. Thank you. And we welcome Dr. Kiramai Pendela, a very senior HR leader from the industry, and also the chairperson for the United Way of Hyderabad. We also request Mr. Rahul Narayan, the Director of the People Business Partner, Pega Systems. Thank you. And I request to Animesh Rai to please take over. Thank you.
Hi, Rahul. Good to see you. Good to see you in person. Come on. My seat is outside. Thank you. Okay. Right. So I've been told to introduce everyone. I don't know how do I do that, because I was just reading it and there is so much of experience. So I'll try keeping it brief, but probably I'll just try making it a little bit interesting. So I'll do a quick introduction and then I'll ask them one thing that this document doesn't say, which their profile doesn't say. So probably I would want one input from everyone in terms of what their CV or profile doesn't say. So quickly introducing Abhishek Ranjan. He is Joint Secretary, United Nations Global Compact. Abhishek Ranjan is a global sustainability and ESG thought leader, shaping how businesses become a force for good, a regular voice at UN and G20, and currently serving as Joint Secretary at United Nations Global Compact India. He bridges purpose with performance, blending business impact with social good. He is recognized as the ESG Person of the Year 2025 by FKCCI and a Sustainability Top Voice on LinkedIn. Right. Welcome, Abhishek. One thing which this doesn't say, if you can quickly let the audience know, that would be great.
Hyderabad is a favorite city of mine because I just love biryanis here.
Okay, wonderful. Now I have Prachita. Prachita is Vice President Human Resource at CLRTS Data Centers with over 17 years of experience in shaping organizations, people's strategy and culture, having been closely associated with CLTRS since its early growth phase. She has played a key role in building scalable HR frameworks aligned with company's evolution into Asia's largest rated 4 data center operator. Prachita is also a strong advocate of inclusion, gender diversity and professional empowerment. She actively promotes women participation in leadership and technical roles and champions mentorships and capability building programs to nurture future leaders. So welcome, Prachita. One thing that audience doesn't know and this doesn't tell us.
I'm a very resilient worker.
Right, we do have that as part of the discussion today. Okay. I have Dr. Kiranmai. Dr. Kiranmai Dutt has 3 decades of professional work experience playing global roles, working in matrix organization, a perennial leader, leading M&A, HR operations, setting up greenfield sites, GCCs for American Fortune companies, leading TA, ER, union negotiations across multiple geographies, and has sharpened her saw on cultural intelligence. Dr. Dutt has set up the first India Technology Center for the world leader in logistics and supply chain UPS of Fortune 40 companies. I'll just 2 more lines about you. She was the head of Center of Excellence at the ISB Center of Leadership, Innovation and Change, CLIck, and partnered with industry champions like O.P. Bhatt, Kiran Majumdar Shah of Biocon and Innovation Model. She is also former chairperson of AmCham, ISTD, and also executive member of IESA, NHRD, and CIA HR committees. Welcome, Kiranmai, and one thing that this profile doesn't tell us.
I think I just love people. So while you were talking about AI, and that's what Ripple's Learning CEO was talking about, Abhishek. So I think human beings will continue to evolve and will continue to. So I'm a people lover, and that's what makes me being part of human resources and talent, and that drives me, that energizes me.
Right, wonderful, thank you. And then we have Rahul. Rahul is a people and transformational leader with 16 plus years of experience shaping HR strategies for complex global technology organizations. As director, people business partner at Pegasystems, he currently drives the people agenda for global GTM teams spanning India and the USA, supporting leaders through growth, scale and change. Rahul's career spans enterprise technology, fintech, cybersecurity, banking and consulting, including leadership roles at DBS Bank, Bank of America, CA Technology and Deloitte Consulting. He has consistently partnered with senior global leaders to drive organizational effectiveness, leadership capability and cultural transformation. One thing, Rahul, that this doesn't tell us.
Thank you. I think one thing which is not on my profile is I'm a professional basketball player. Sorry, correction. I was a professional basketball player, and most of my learnings are from sports, and I'm a firm believer that sports shapes you as a better person. So that's something which is not there on my profile.
Wonderful, Rahul. Thank you so much. Okay, one thing about being on the other side, listening, is that you really need to be patient and you really need to, hear it all out, and there is less of options in terms of what you can do. So I'll just try starting with a quick rapid fire, just to make it again little more interesting. And the topic that we are discussing today is actually very interesting. We are talking about India's leadership role in a deglobalized world, and this is what we are talking about. And I think to me, last 1 year has been very interesting. Every time I wake up and pick pick up a newspaper, there is something that America has done, something that has been said, something that is happening. So it has been quite interesting, engaging, interacting, but I'm sure there are there are things that are happening which we may or may not like. And even, technology is changing things. There are a lot of things happening. So we are touching base on different aspects. For example, we are touching base on how can India move from cost advantage to capability advantage. We are talking about workforce resilience. We are talking about HR as a strategic architect. We are talking about how can talent transition be done at scale, and how reverse brain drain can help India. So these are all topics that we are going to talk about for next 40 minutes, 5 minutes that has gone in terms of introduction, etc. And I'll try making it as engaging for all of you as possible. Now, let me begin with a quick rapid fire, maybe a 45-second answer to Abhishek first. In one sentence, what is the biggest workforce shift India must get right in next 5 years?
I think the one other thing which we need to really build is from the cost advantage, the operational execution to, I think, creating values. Most of us, when we were doing MBAs, we were told that do general MBA, then the specialization came. I think that the world is now looking at something more depth in terms of your understanding, cross-functional knowledge is no longer, master of one trade is going to work in the new ecosystem.
Right, okay. The same question to you, Kiranmai. One sentence, what is the biggest workforce shift India must get right in next 5 years?
I think given the revolution of AI and whatever fear psychosis is spreading, we have to be the value creators for the world, not just the software capital or the, what we say, cyber coolies, or unfortunately, we've gone to that extent. Value creation, I completely agree with Abhishek. So the widening gap between academia and industry, especially in the tech space, is ever increasing. So we have to look at skills first approach.
Right, okay, thank you so much. Now, again, a quick rapid fire to you, Prachita. What is that one blind spot that you feel India lacks in its strategy?
I think in strategy, we are not looking at adaptive mindset culture. Not able to build a adaptive mindset culture of people is something, it's a blind spot. We need more people like this because we are continuously changing. Our environments are changing. We need people like this who can be working in a VUCA world in a continuous environment.
Right, okay, wonderful, wonderful. And the same question to you, Rahul. What is that one blind spot India needs to correct, or,
I think sometimes we undermine ourselves. We don't look at our potential. I think I strongly believe that everything and anything can happen from our country. And sometimes we oversee our potential. So I think that is something which is missing in talent strategy. I think whether it is academia, whether it is any industry for that matter you take, we have a lot of examples wherein we are competing the rest of the world as well, and we are delivering outstanding products, outstanding value-driven discussions and things from our country. Saying that is one thing, sometimes we underplay ourselves. I think we should step up and say that there's nothing which we can't do as an organization, as a country, or whatever it is. So I think that's one blind spot, because you said blind spot, not, so I think that's a blind spot if you ask me.
Right, wonderful, wonderful, interesting. So now one of the theme of this discussion is from cost advantage to capability advantage. And Dr. Kiranmai, I would like to ask you, India has long competed on cost efficiency. Now, what must change for us to compete on innovation and capability?
I think very clearly from a patenting perspective, because when we're talking about innovation and capability, when you look across the globe, you still see the developed economies are truly ahead with respect to the patents they hold. And that's the key which is going to unlock when you're looking at India's potential. And we have been exporting our talent all across the globe. So if we can start building our own IP portfolio in terms of product innovation within the country, the Make in India and so on, which we talk about, but it should also come in with this intelligence of creating our own patents, and that's going to really serve the world interests.
Well, I completely agree. In fact, me and Abhishek always end up discussing that India is not a research-driven economy, right? We are executors, implementers, but are we researching enough? Are we? And that highlights that point. Very, very interesting. Rahul, I would like to ask you that how do we build product ownership mindset instead of execution mindset? How do we do that? I mean, we are so good with execution. We are the service center to the world when it comes to IT, etc. How do we develop a product ownership mindset?
So I think we've already developed that mindset, and I can talk about the journey which at least I have seen. When so-called corporates started maybe around 15, 20, 25 years back, we started off with more in terms of cost center driven, getting work which is penetrated back to our country from different countries across the globe. Now we are in a situation wherein our wage bill is higher, so it's no longer a cost advantage as in such. We are more focusing on value driven. Now, if you see the number of unicorns which have opened in the last 5 years across the countries is unparalleled. It has not happened in the history of any country for that matter. Look at Hyderabad as a city, the number of GCCs opening, whether it is technology, whether it is pharma, whether it is healthcare, whether it's insurance, whether it is banking. I work with consulting organizations, banking organizations, and now with a product organization. So I think getting that opportunity is something which you already have. It's more as to my previous point, untap the potential which we already have, right? I think that helps us to build the product mindset. I have engineers who are developing products sitting out of the Hyderabad office, which is being used by Fortune 100 companies across the globe. So I think we are already there. If you go to campuses today, you look at the students today, what they come up with and the ideas they come up with, they don't necessarily, like all of us have been hearing that from a technology perspective, we will not need coders after 5 years down the line. So what would they do? So the way they challenge, the way they articulate, the way they blueprint their thought process, the way they look at the product, what is going to be in the future and look at business problems, I think that is something which is there. So I think helping our new generation to understand the business language, build the business acumen will be the key to build the product mindset. I think we are already developing the product, but having the right business acumen will help it, is what I think.
Wonderful. I think I completely agree. And every time you visit a campus, you feel, why are you not that young, right? Why are you not in the campus? Because there is so much that has changed in last 10, 15 years, isn't it?
And
right?
For an example, you have everything on your fingertips today, right? Whether you talk, we heard the previous speaker talking from Google to ChatGPT. You have everything on ChatGPT, so why do you need, so I have one of my business leader who's, he's been in the industry for good 30, 35 years. He has a teenager going from school to college, and his kid is asking him, why do I need to get into a university? Why can't I just sit next to my system and learn whatever is there? So that's a discussion which is getting there. So the answer to that is business acumen, which obviously AI can help you. But once you get into a school or college or university, there is overlying umbrella to it as well. So
very, very interesting, very interesting. Abhishek, now you are Joint Secretary, UNGC, and you understand the social fabric initiatives really well. So I just want to ask you that can social institutions play a larger role in shaping national skill priorities?
Absolutely. I think, one of the charter of the UN Global Compact is to how do we really make companies responsible. Just to let you know that UN Global Compact is the largest corporate body in the world, with over 25,000 companies part of it. And one of the things which we always advocated was, how the labor conditions at different working environments, human rights. Give you just a simple fact, there are only 24% engineers who are currently working in LLMs and AI. They are women, only 24%. So 76% people who are writing LLMs will have some biases, right, which is not true reflection of our society. Now, we are really working on how do we create responsible AI, how do we making sure that this whole divide doesn't go widen, because one of the risks what we are seeing is that countries who are adopting AI faster versus the countries who will not adopt, the kind of the divide is going to widen a lot. That's the number one. The number two situation is that AI is also creating a lot of disruption at the early schooling, the cognitive abilities of children. Because, there's a very famous say in Hindi that nakal ke liye bhi akal chahiye hota hai, right? So akal, to develop that akal, you need to do a lot of, manifestations, in the school level. So what happened in one of the countries in Europe, without naming them, they moved out of the, the textbook teaching, the original style of teaching, and now they went to all technology. And then now they realized in 1 year how much damage they did. And they've now gone back to that, the old style of teaching. So what is happening is a lot of pressure on even the younger kids in engineering students or MBAs who are passing. Because, AI is disrupting a lot more at the entry jobs, the early career jobs, than the, the middle level. Of course, it will affect all of us. To say that the coding job will go away, who knows it, right? We have seen several cycles of, technology advancements, right from Y2K, what happened. Every next shop was creating some .com, and we saw what happened. Now, some survived, but a lot of them didn't survive. So I think it's very difficult to predict how the world is, because I generally believe that the people are going to be there. People need to be serviced. There has to be some product. There has to be some services around it. So, of course, the nature of job might change a bit here and there, but I think there's going to be a lot more companies will get formed, lot more jobs will get created, but all we have to safeguard is that in this process, the underserved, there's a diversity and equity is also weighed in once we make these models, because the effect of not doing this in the first place will have a lot of challenges at the later stage. Just think about if these large language models are created in just few countries, or by few set of people, or few set of gender, what it can create a lasting impact. The way we consume our history, the way we consume all our information, if it's just have few set of people defining it, it's going to be a lot of challenge. So that's where I think India has to shape up as a country, and also we need to see that we become the advocate of responsibility in the way of how change management is going to happen in all our workforce or workplaces. Yeah.
Very interesting, very interesting. In fact, I was just thinking about it, and then I thought if AI is going to change everything, I mean, AI getting married to machines mean you don't need a plumber in 5 years or 10 years from now, isn't it, right? So maybe the world, is it a fast forward, it's a rewind, where if you look at the world 200 years back, maybe it was a very different world than the world that we are currently living in. So yeah, but that's a lot of uncertainty. Nobody knows how things would shape up and what would happen, and how the whole ecosystem would evolve. Very, very interesting take, Abhishek. Thanks for that. Prachita, coming to you. Your profile talks about this a lot, so your input would really help. What does true workforce resilience mean beyond wellness and engagement?
Workforce resilience is, if you ask me a definition, see, basically it is working in an uncertainty. Yes, definitely there is an uncertainty in our industry where technology is evolving. I mean, we are into a data center industry, a technology evolving, AI is evolved. There are a lot of regulations, policy changes which are happening. There's a demand fluctuations which is happening. There is a globalization in data center industry, the reset budget. So a lot of changes are happening. So people have to be ready. That's the reason I said adaptive mindset is very, very important in our industry. So people have to be ready, they have to be calm, they have to be working, they have to deliver the results in that uncertainty. And we made our organization ready for that. That is what, as an HRs and the business leaders, have thrived, have developed, have built that culture in our organization.
Yeah, true. Actually, if you look at that, if we are able to adapt, then it's true for any scenario, isn't it? And that kind of allows you to cater to whatever kind of resilience is required to grow, so that makes complete sense.
COVID was a right example, right? Nobody It was so uncertain. We do not know what was happening. But yes, our industry was essential at that point of time, many of them. So we survived it. The entire market has survived. But I think we need to get more resilient, adaptive culture now.
Certainly, with industries, all of us also survived COVID, so congratulations everyone. Now, Dr. Kirmay, I want to ask this very interesting question, in fact, and I feel that this is one problem that we have been trying to solve for decades, and that is, how do we build stronger academia, industry, government, workforce coalition?
Yeah, this seems to be, a catch-all and, always in a catch-up mode, because it's been decades which we're trying to solve this problem. But recently, a very interesting policy has come into play in our country, where we have the demographic dividend, as we say. So the policy talks about mandatory apprenticeship, right? Which was more for the brick and mortar companies at one point of time, but now they're saying every organization mandatorily has to, just as we have a CSR Act, India is the only country across the globe which has CSR Act. So we are pioneering in certain ways. So now, what are the implications of this? Let's understand. And that's where we will be able to unlock the potential of the demographic dividend we have, and also create a stronger bond with the academia and the industry. The moment it becomes a law, whether you're a GCC, whoever you are, the moment you're playing on this soil, you will have to abide by the governing policy and the law. So that is the overarching piece. Now, I already am aware, in fact, as I speak today, Accenture, one of the largest consulting companies in our country, GCC again, if you look at an American company, has actually entered into a pact with some of the engineering colleges in the country. And what is it doing? This is called a 2x2 model. What is a 2x2 model? A 4-year engineering or a technology degree, which students would typically go into a college and they spend 4 years, and maybe they do some 3 months to 6 months of internship during that period, where they'll take a reference, they'll ask their uncle, whatever, or there are some companies which will offer pre-placement offers, internships converted. Now all that is a passé. 2 years they're going to build on their fundamentals in the college with the professors or faculty. And then 2 years is completely practical, hands-on in the industry. So because of the policy push, what's happening is now both industry and academia are redesigning, rethinking, reinventing the kind of curriculum they had, the kind of programs they have had in terms of whether it's core engineering, IT, whichever. So into the specific industry sectors, these individuals are going to go spend a year in one industry, understand their hands, and they're getting paid for it. So how cool is that? So they get mandatorily from the government 7,000 to 12,000. And then if Accenture is placing them on a client project, whatever client, depending on the role, they'll also get additional that. So look at the motivation and energy of the students. They're not just getting a degree, but they're also, this is called a lead edge program. Those of you who haven't yet known about this, so it's fantastic. I think those are the ones which will sustain as well as scale and reach out not just to the urban milieu, because I don't think you and I are here to talk about the IITs, IIMs and all. They will always find a place to go. We're talking about the larger millions of our workforce who are in the rural parts of India, and that's where for them to be able to find their livelihood and also a suitable kind of a job, skilling is the only way. And if you transform your curriculum where you have hands-on practical kind of training, which is happening with the industry, and that's where the policymakers, academia, and the industry come in together. So I think programs like that is going to build the scale, and our future is very clearly defined, whether it's AI, whatever comes in, whether it's brick and mortar companies or the technology companies, because you want that pipeline and you're getting that pipeline very clearly. You can cherry pick when they're apprenticing with you, and they also understand the culture and their fitment with that organization. So it's solving a major problem if this is going to spread across the country, and all colleges are able to adapt and change their curriculum.
Very interesting, very interesting. In fact, just to add to this, I also do feel that we always focus on students a lot, and that's the objective of a college, isn't it? The four walls is to develop students, but I think what is also needed is to develop teachers, right? That is extremely important, and especially if you look at Telangana Workforce Blueprint, there is a QR code, you should download it. All upcoming jobs or emerging jobs, almost 80% of it has an AI layer to it, right? And if our teachers are not, if our curriculums are not enhanced and are not updated, I think that kind of would withdraw the skill and the demographic advantage India has. So thank you so much. I think this is a wonderful model that you spoke about of Accenture, and I think we should look at imbibing at a larger scale. Rahul, I would like to ask you, now we spoke about, a lot of conversations is very, I would say it is about India, and it is, but there are a lot of HR professionals here. So this question and your answer would probably cater to everyone present here. What capability must HR leaders develop to stay strategically relevant?
So I think that's an interesting one. The strategy part, which is the most, I think the most beaten word in the industry is strategy. And I think everyone thinks that, everyone believes that they think that they can come with a strategy, they can work on a strategy and things like that. I think as HR leaders or as professionals, if we are able to articulate and demystify a strategy to the bottommost pyramid of your organization, then you can define strategy and then you can work on strategy. And I can give an example. We recently had our, in one of my previous organizations, we recently had our, company call, wherein we talk about what is the strategy, how we are going to get to 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, what is our product philosophy, what is our workforce philosophy. And I had only 10% of my campus hires attending that, which means, well, I've put a strategy in place, but I'm not able to articulate to or engage with my bottom of the pyramid. And when you build in a strategy, you're not building it for a year, 2 years. It's a long term. So if I'm not able to engage my workforce, which will be more relevant in the next 5 years, then the strategy which I've put in place, does it actually matter, or it will fade away in a year? Right? Now we're talking about one of my organizations I was working, they were $4 billion as an organization. They want to get into $8 billion organization. They had put, how do we go from on-prem to cloud? How do we put all our products? But that doesn't excite your workforce. If that's your strategy, then you need to come up with in terms of how you measured, in terms of what as an HR person or what as a leader I should have to demystify that to the larger organization, and how do I engage them? Now, the current workforce which I have are currently on Snapchats, Instagrams, and so on and so forth. How can I engage them? Because you can put strategy, but if it is not getting implemented, what's the point of it? So to me, it is very important that if you are able to demystify, articulate, and engage your entire organization, then you are getting that skill. Because people have been in the industry for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, they will somehow align or fall off from the strategy. If they align, they'll continue. If they fall off, they fall off. So that's where I would leave it with.
Very interesting, great. Coming back to you, Abhishek, how do ESG and sustainability goals reshape workforce transition priorities?
Thank you. So just one point which you talked about, the skill part, right? Friends, even I see in the both advanced workforce as well as at the ground